Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree Buonomo. Hi if you're new here, or hey if you've been here before. Today is another book haul and it is my quarterly book haul for the fall season. So in fall I accumulated much less books than I did in the summer, which is probably for the best considering that I do have a little bit of addiction when it comes to books, especially books that I think are pretty or have been hyped, something that I think are interesting, and I impulsively will buy them. But for the fall, I did control that a little bit, and I will say the majority of books on this list were probably discounted for the most part. And going through these, I will tell you where I got them and how, if I got them for a really good deal and all that. So without further ado, let's just jump into my fall book haul. The first book on my list is The Secret Garden by, oh my gosh, Frances Hodgson Burnett. Wow, I butchered that. Frances Hodgson Burnett. There we go. I actually won this book, and I believe I won it maybe through BookCon online. I think that's where I won it from. I just remember that it showed up and I was excited. I'm pretty sure it was from BookCon. But this is actually an illustrated, and I believe it pops out. I did not open it yet because I didn't want to break it because it looks absolutely beautiful. But I have never read this book and I didn't own it previously, so I was very happy to receive it. And I am excited to give this a shot. It's a classic book at this point and I don't really know anything about it, which is mostly how I am with classics. But I was so excited to win. The next book that I got in the season of fall was Baby Teeth by, who is it by? Zoje Stage? Oof. That's a hard one. But this was a thriller, I believe, and I do not know much about it. I ended up getting this from a library sale, so it was like $1 or 50 cents or something like that, and I figured I would give it a go. I watch Books and Lala quite often, and she reads a lot of thrillers, and I believe this is one that she did not enjoy. But I was like, for 50 cents at a yard sale, it's worth picking up and giving it a shot. So it's also not that big of a book. It's less than 300 pages, or is 300 pages. It's like really short in all comparisons. So I just figured I would give it a try. But yeah, I was excited to find this for a very cheap deal. At the same yard sale, I found The Institute by Stephen King. I have just been collecting Stephen King books for the last few years, and I still haven't read a single one. But I kind of thought this might be a good one to start with because it's not really a horror book and it might be a little bit more up my alley as far as stories go. I'm not really sure. I mean, it's almost like, I think my opinion of it, without giving too much away, I think it's like an institute where like gifted children with like special powers go. And that is the kind of stuff that I'm super interested in. I love that kind of stuff. Like special boarding schools, institutes, good or bad, I'm into it. So I would like to get to this one at some point. I believe this one, I don't know if it was a 2019, I think. It won the Good Choice Awards for Best Horror, and then I remember a bunch of people complaining that it wasn't horror. So either way, it was $1, and now we have it. And the last book from that book haul at the library sale was Finnick of the Rock by Melina Marchetta. So this book I do not know anything about. The only thing I can tell you is that Reagan from Peruse Project, this is one of her favorite books of all time. And I remember when I first started watching her years ago, she brought this up quite a bit. And I always was like, oh, maybe it sounds kind of cool. I might be into it. And then I never found it. And the only downfall is I think, no, it might actually. I was going to say there's something on the cover, but I think it actually comes off. But it looks brand new otherwise. Kristen Kashore blurbed it on the back, so I feel like I would like it. I think it has to do, no, this one isn't about fairies, I don't think. I could be confusing that one. It's a king and a queen, so yeah, so I'm excited to read this. At a different library sale, but a library sale nonetheless, I picked up The Book of Life by Deborah Harkness. In my last book haul, I found The Discovery of Witches at a library sale, and then I found the second book at a library sale, and I was like, for $1, can I really go wrong? And if I don't like it, I will just pass them on to someone who dies. So I really didn't really care that I spent $1 on it, but it is a very, very beautiful cover. So I'm kind of hoping that I do enjoy the series because they look really nice on my shelf. Next on my list is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This was an Owl Crate exclusive that I believe I got in the month of September, maybe? October. I got it in the month of October from Owl Crate, and I'm really excited to read this. I've actually been seeing a lot of reviews recently of people reading this and absolutely adoring it. It essentially follows a young Black girl who enters and gets accepted into this secret society that follows Arthurian lore. But being Black and a woman, that's very, very rare in this society. So it kind of navigates her living in this life where she doesn't feel like she fits, as well as learning magic to kind of hopefully help a problem that they are encountering at the society. And as I mentioned, it's a series and everyone seems to be raving about it, so I'm really excited to read it. I probably won't get to it by the end of the year because my TBR list for this month is absolutely ridiculous, but in the new year I definitely intend to grab this. Another Owl Crate book that I received this season was A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I actually already read this book by the time this is going up, and I loved it. But basically, this is an Owl Crate exclusive. It has, I believe the cover itself is exclusive, as well as the foiling, and it is signed, and it has a little ribbon. I'm obsessed with this, and I loved the story. Basically, you are following a girl named Elle, as she is in a magical school where the kids are pretty much self-taught and they're taught by magical things in the school, but the school is infested with monsters, and in order to graduate you have to fight through the monsters and survive in order to leave the building. So the school was kind of built to protect their kids from these monsters because the monsters are all over our world. However, it kind of backfired on them, and you are kind of following them in their junior year of high school as they are trying to navigate why the school is actually breaking down and surviving on top of it. I really liked this book. I think it's a trilogy. I already cannot wait for book 2. It is going to be a wild time, I'm sure. Another book in this haul that was kind of a surprise was The Queen's Assassin by Melissa de la Cruz. So Melissa de la Cruz is pretty famous for her Blue Blood series, which was a vampire mixed with angelical myth in like the Catholic religion, and I was obsessed with that series as a teenager. But I also really just liked Melissa de la Cruz's writing because I also ended up reading her spin-off of the Blue Bloods, which was the Witches of East End, and I absolutely loved that as well. So I had wanted to get this book, but I just kind of put it on the wayside and kept forgetting about it. And then there was a challenge, like a giveaway going on. I think it was on Instagram or Twitter. It was one of the two. And I participated, and then the next thing I knew, this just showed up, and I indicated that I won. So I was very excited. As it kind of states, The Queen's Assassin, it follows, I think it's a boy who is supposed to be like the most deadliest assassin, and ends up being mixed with like the queen or the princess or something like that. So I don't know. I'm just really excited because I wanted to get a copy of this forever. And it is an advanced reader's copy, even though the book is already out. So if you are seeing the advanced reader's copy and you're like, oh no, I can't get it, it's out already. It came out earlier this year, so you're fine. Sticking with the theme of exclusive, it was very, very late, but I finally obtained my copy of Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. This is a young adult fantasy set in a world that's inspired by France, but follows a bunch of witches and witch hunters, and how originally in the first book there's a witch who is forced to marry a witch hunter, and he has no idea that she's a witch, and she's trying to navigate the entirety of keeping her secret, staying alive, and uncovering what is actually going on between the church and the Society of Witches. So this is book 2. It has been long awaited for me. As soon as I powered through book 1, I waited over a year for this to come out. And then unfortunately, because of everything that's happening in the world, the Fairy Loot team had a hard time packaging and getting all the stuff, so it was delayed, I think, over a month, which meant that by the time I got this, it was NaNoWriMo season, and I did not get to read it, but this is on my December TBR, and I'm really excited. I know in the first book where it left off, there was going to be introductions of new characters, I believe, and I was very excited for that. So I love this, and I can't wait to read it. And I believe this is my last exclusive in this list, but I also received The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, which is an exclusive Owl Crate edition, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm obsessed. This one I am actually going to be reading next after I finish the book I'm currently reading. And this follows a girl who, hundreds of years ago, she made a deal with the devil in order to stay alive. But once she made that deal, she became invisible to everyone around her. And one day she walks into a store and someone remembers her face, which is the first time it's ever happened in all these years. And that's all I know. That's all I want to know. I've heard that this is a slow burn book. It's very character driven, and I'm here for that. I feel like this is the perfect kind of read for the slow Christmas time, holiday time, winter time seasons. So I'm excited to read this as well. Next, I received a Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. So this book I found because I've been following Elise Kova on Instagram for years. I have her first book in the Air Awakens series, and I've never read it, unfortunately. But when this came out, me and two of my friends were actually looking for a like fluffy, fun book to read as like a book club, like just like the three of us to kind of talk about it. So I found this as it was coming out. I think it came out on November 6th. And I was like, hey guys, like this sounds fun. And they were into it. So we started reading this on December 1st. I am in the middle of reading it at the time I'm filming this. And I love it so much. Basically, this is a world where there are a bunch of different magical creatures, but there are three sections of the world. There is our human world, a kind of middle ground, and then there's the beyond, which is kind of like your afterlife world. And where the beyond is where all of these magical creatures like elves and fae and vampires and mermaids live. But with the elves rule this place, and every 100 years, there is a human queen that has the potential for magic that is groomed and trained to be the wife of the Elf King. Our main character is Luella, and Luella is the human queen, but was kept secret her entire life. So when the Elf King comes and says that she is the human queen and needs to come with him to save their lands, her life kind of spirals out of control for a little bit, and everything unfolds from there, and it is such a wonderful, fun, fluffy, magnificent time. I am enjoying this so much. I think online it's definitely pitched as like a Court of Thorns and Roses and The Cruel Prince, like if you liked those books. I 100% agree. Also, if you just like the myth of Hades and Persephone, this is essentially a Hades and Persephone retelling, and it is so on par. Like, I absolutely love how the retelling aspect is like woven into the magic system and the world. So good. So I highly recommend this. I'm not even finished with the book, and I already know I absolutely love it, but it's wonderful, guys. Next on my list is A Crown of Bones by A.K. Wilder. So this book, this is one of those rare times for me, but on my Instagram, the publishing company reached out to me and they were like, hey, do you want to receive an ARC of this? And I am very selective because I know that there are so many people out there who want to receive ARCs, and ARCs are very coveted. And I don't want to get something that I'm never going to read, even though that does happen because I am the worst and sometimes time just escapes us. But I read through this and it sounded pretty fascinating, so I accepted, and it showed up, and it's beautiful. It is a nice paperback, I'm just gonna say, and it's floppy and it's wonderful. But basically you're following a cast of characters as they are trying to essentially save their world that is dying. The magic or something is draining, so you have an heir that's supposed to be this most powerful being. They are called phantoms, I believe their magic system is, so he's a phantom and supposed to be the most powerful one. There is a like priest-like character that is trying to control the kingdoms and the world, and then there's a couple different other races and people that are involved, and the other character who is supposed to be like the chosen one. So I love a full cast of characters, and that's why I was excited about it. I'm not gonna lie, the back of this book, it's not the best description I've had of a book, but it's enough that I'm intrigued to see how these characters are gonna come along and like move forward with the plot. So I know it's a hit or miss for some people. Sometimes having a little bit of a background is enough for people to get interested, and sometimes it could be a detriment, because I did think about this for a few days if I would actually want it or not, but then I was like, you know what, it does lean towards what I actually like, so I agreed. But I'm excited, and this is on my TBR for December as well. I will hopefully have a review up because it is due out, I believe, on January 5th, 2021. Next, I'm going to shame myself for a moment because I am absolutely the worst. Because I pre-ordered this book a year ago, and I pre-ordered it because I had all intentions of finishing the series, like binging it, to get to this book because it was the series finale. And that is Sky Without Storm by Saba Tahir. And the reason I'm shaming myself is because I did not do it. I did not read the series. I still only read book 1, and now book 4 is here, and I own the entire series. And we're just here with the entire series. So I do think I'm going to have to finish this at some point next year so that I don't shame myself anymore. But we have it. So basically, I can't really give too much away because this is the 4th book and I haven't read the other ones anyway, so you're good. But the first book follows a girl who her brother ends up getting captured by this government, and the government seems to be cruel, and she kind of tries to break in, but ends up kind of having a bunch of connections with the people who work there and ends up changing her perspective a little bit. And there's more of that understanding and whatnot. That's terrible review, Bree. But it's really good. Honestly, go look it up on Goodreads if you're interested and you don't know anything about this, because the first book was really fascinating. I really enjoyed it, and that's why I'm very disappointed that I did not finish the series by the time this book came to my doorstep. Alright, we're down to the last 2 books. The first one I'm going to mention is King of S Photos by Avalene Woods. So, quick backstory to this. When I first started my YouTube channel back in September of 2019, me and another fellow author tuber, Avalene Woods, started about the same time, and we ended up following each other. So I was kind of like interested in her journey. I didn't know where she was going, if she was going self-publishing, if she was going traditional publishing, but she kind of didn't post a lot of videos, and then a couple weeks ago, there was a video that she was like, guys, guess what? I'm publishing my book. So I posted on that video. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. And she ended up, like, that video was also, like, she was doing a giveaway for the book, and I ended up commenting on it and won the giveaway, even though that was not my intention. It was mostly just to congratulate her. But she so kindly sent me a copy of her book. And I'm excited because it looks like it has Greek mythology in it. And anytime there's Greek mythology, I'm obsessed instantly. I love Greek mythology. But it has like New York, the goddess of night, Nyx, and a guy who is like something. Oh, he's the Lord of the Dead who's locked into a contract with Nyx. So I'm interested. I don't know if there's going to be like romance in it. I have no idea. But she did send me a lot of cute little things, including some bookmarks, and I'm just so excited because we should support fellow author tubers. I do have this on my list. I'm probably not going to read it by the end of the year, but I'm going to try to read this soon. So if you want to support a fellow author tuber, if you like fantasy books, I believe this is also adult fantasy, so keep that in mind, but you can go check out Avalene. I will link her down below. And the last book in my book haul, which is the quickest one to talk about, and that is Good Morning, Good Night, Little Pep Talks for Me and You by Lin-Manuel Miranda. So I recently just got this for my birthday, and one of my best friends saw this, and she was like, oh, I'm going to get this for Bree because this is right up her alley, and she is right. This is one of those books that I would never probably buy for myself because I just pick up more of like the novels and fiction books rather than like these little guys, but I love getting them as gifts because they are very nice, and I already started skimming through them, and it kind of reminds me of Shel Silverstein, but instead of poetry, it's a little bit well, there is some poetry in it too, so it really just reminds me of like Shel Silverstein, but like for adults to motivate you rather than poems for like children / having deeper meanings. So I'm really excited. I have never, to be honest, like I vaguely knew about this book, but I didn't even know that like it really existed. So it was a nice little surprise for my birthday. And she also got me a candle to go along with it so I can light my candle and read the book at the same time. So there you have it, my friends. That is my fall quarterly book haul. And I'm pretty proud of myself that I really didn't spend too much money. And the only book that I'm really ashamed of is Saba Tahir's book, because I really, really had the plan to finish that series this year, and we're not doing it. But next year we will finally get there. I promise. I promise myself. This is gonna have to go in my goals video coming up. So on that note, guys, I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, and for the rest of the month, I will be having a variety of end of the year recaps, including my goals videos, my least favorite books, my most favorite books, and all that jazz. So be on the lookout for all of those videos, and hopefully you'll stick around, because then come January, we'll be back to our intermixed writing and reading content. But until next time, I will see you then. Bye.